Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a little bit more in depth on a great viewer question, and that is to discuss the narcissistic sort of discontent, their inability to feel content, meaning I have enough. I am enough. Everything is good. And I would say, really, when we talk about a narcissist personality, there's largely I would say, an undergirding sense of incompetence, insecurity, or what you might then experience in a relationship is discontent. They're never happy. Things are never okay. They don't look good enough. They don't sound good enough. They don't have enough. Their car is not enough. Their job isn't enough. And your company is not enough. It goes through this whole gamut. And I would say largely that there's this emotionality of immaturity that the narcissist will maintain as sort of this childlike discontent. I want more. And in other words, they're sort of not really living in the present or able to have that interpersonal communication that everything is good enough and then I can enjoy people. It's kind of like someone who's always hungry. If they're always hungry at a meeting, and then all during the meeting they might miss what's going on because all they can think about is how hungry they are. So it's so then they always say, oh, eat before you have a meeting, so you can focus on the content. I mean, that's, I would say, a similar parallel to draw when we talk about a narcissist and their discontent. Really feeling that they are never quite good enough, that they are sort of have a deep sense of incompetency, even though contrary to a big ego or big showmanship or a lot of fuss or to do, I think deep inside they don't have that sense of, they don't really exude that, everything is okay, or that security, or the absence of fear, which is love. So you don't really sometimes feel a presence of love around them if they're always sort of in that, I am empty mode. My ego needs to be inflated a little bit more mode, unless you can, get over the top excited for them and talk all about them, but then meanwhile you don't receive anything in return. It becomes a ongoing pattern, an ongoing type and lifestyle of relationship where so this is, they're always sort of looking out the horizon, over the horizon, in other words. And then a lot of people who feel that they are then sort of always looking over their shoulder, that they're not really present with them at the party. They're not really present with them at the dinner. They're always sort of looking at the door. They're looking over the shoulder. They're not really there for, a split-second conversation, and then they're talking about something else or looking at their phone. So there's a feeling that then the people then experience, then they then attribute this sort of, I would say vanishing, or this sort of disappointment or dissatisfaction as, well, it must be me. I must not be enough, or feeling that I'm the source of their unhappiness. They don't want to stick around because of me. They're always looking for more because I am not giving them enough. They're difficult to please, and so you become really the people pleaser in this quest. And when we talk about someone who is narcissistic, they just don't ever really have enough because they don't ever really feel that they are good enough. It's just the overcompensation I think you might experience. And rather than feeling that they don't always have to go after more relationships, a better, there could be somebody better sort of saga, that whole story where, they always don't, or they might call and say that they get bored with people easily. In other words, they're not committed. They're only looking for their own self-gratification. They are lacking empathy, and they have an inability to understand other people's feelings, needs, perspectives, wants, or just experiences. To be overall interested in them, to find out who they are, what they're made of. It all has to be like them stealing the show, stealing the thunder. And this then ripples out as this sort of discontent. In other words, they always have to have bigger news, the bigger car, whatever it is. They always want to sort of burst everybody else's bubble because their bubble is better. And then a lot of people then feel that they don't have that ability to please others. Excuse me, this is my hay fever. And and so I should bring some water with me next time. So they oftentimes then develop this feeling that others need to then become sort of people-pleasing. It's the old happy life is a happy wife mentality. In other words, well, if you can just do enough to keep them happy, even if you're unhappy, then that's better than two people unhappy. So then you have this other-centered focus locus of control, an external locus of control, which then becomes people-pleasing, which then people feel that they're not really being themselves, that they're not content enough with themselves then, and then they lack an intrapersonal relationship, sort of being okay with themselves, that they are okay to have fun, that they're okay to let go, that they're, smart enough, that they've already passed enough tests in life to have, enough to be relatable. But, oftentimes as a relate of this, I think a lot of people who find this very traumatizing and then they develop a sort of an isolation out of this fear, and then the post-traumatic stress syndrome. So it can be very bleak. It can be very disconcerting for a lot of people, and they feel oftentimes that they are oftentimes the cause of their unhappiness, which couldn't be the further from the truth. They tend to take the blame. They will take the projection as their own because they don't know any better. They don't know what's going on. They don't know that they're being overwhelmed by this person. So oftentimes then if they can have and because they don't really oftentimes have certain things that they want to do, I think the narcissist sort of feels that they are above certain things, and above, and then they seek to surround themselves with other people who will then do these things for them. And then it becomes a very one-directional relationship. You have to always be talking about them, always scratching their back, always complimenting them, always asking about them. And, then you feel that you're underrepresented, that they don't know you, you don't know yourself pretty soon, and then it just becomes a big rabbit hole of imbalance in a relationship, and then people clamor to, get out of this sort of drowning state. How do you get your head above water? Well, it's exactly this. Realize that a narcissist oftentimes is very dependent on others. They are not very independent. They don't have that degree of self-reliance. They will surround themselves with other people who will take care of their needs, and especially, the things that they don't want to do. They'll find themselves to others who will do all the work. Then it becomes very depleting and very draining, and then a lot of people just become exhausted from trying to please them all the time. So you have to stop that struggle. Stop that people-pleasing mentality. You might be, a pretty good way on your part of the journey, or you might be just beginning, but look to the degree to which your happiness is then created by other people, making other people happy. And that then, if these people then aren't happy, then you then feel unhappy despite your efforts. So it becomes a real important cycle for you to keep aware of, so that you are independent, autonomous, that your self-esteem doesn't always need another to enhance it. Although the relationships are, two heads are better than one, but to the lack of being able to have this for yourself, owning that for yourself is okay, and to come back to that, even if it's a ground zero, to start there and to embrace that is a good way to sort of detox from after you've absorbed a lot of negativity, especially the discontent on behalf of the narcissist. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace in, peace out, peace be with you, and have a beautiful day.